We appreciate our good friend, Speaker Cameron Sexton. He wrote this earlier today on a post on the X machine. It is reckless, irresponsible, and against the law for anyone to dox federal agents and law enforcement. We must get to the bottom of how this happened. I'm asking Freddie O'Connell and Metro government to explain how and why this happened, who approved this, and whether Metro Legal also signed off or voiced any opposition to the release of the agents' names. Tennessee law bans sanctuary cities and harboring illegal immigrants, and a violation puts the city at risk of losing state-shared tax dollars. And then he tagged Representative Mark Green, the AG of Tennessee, and the Department of Homeland Security. Cameron Sexton, the Tennessee Speaker of the House, joins us on the Matt Murphy Show. Cameron, always good to speak. Good afternoon. I hope you're well.
Good afternoon, Matt. I hope it's all well with you, too.
I want you to expound a little bit on the X post. Tell me, when you became aware. I mean, this took a different tone, and for me, the dynamics changed considerably. It's one thing for Freddie to, the mayor of Nashville, to kind of mouth off about his disagreement with the practices of ICE. That's one thing. It's America. I suppose he has the right to speak in a manner that he wants to, but it's another thing to impede those efforts. And it's quite another thing to dox state or federal agents. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, look, I mean, Matt, I'm on the same page as you. Look, people can express themselves, and politics is politics, and, that's fine. If you want to disagree with it, disagree with it. But to your point is when you get to the point of releasing names of the agents who were involved in this, whether it's one or multiple, it really doesn't matter at that point how many it is. One's too many. And one of them may have been someone who was undercover. It's a problem, and it's against the law. You can't do it. It's not allowed, and it shouldn't be done. And so the question is, why was it? What happened? Where did the process fail? What was the procedure? Who's responsible for it? You would assume that Metro Legal Counsel would at least have seen it before it went out. And there's just a lot of questions. And so, I don't want to rush to judgment quick. The names got released. We do know that. But I want some more information about it. But, this year we passed the bill that we talked about that said if you violate state law, if you're a city or county, you violate state law or state constitution, then the state can withhold your shared sales tax dollars. And so, we're serious about it. We're not going to put up with that. And, you're not going to be a sanctuary city. You're not going to dox law enforcement officials just because somebody thinks it's funny or they want to cause harm.
I find it interesting. I just got this into my inbox, and I want to read it to you. It is from our friends over at the Fox affiliate in Memphis. I don't know if you've seen this. This is from Memphis Mayor Paul Young. And I just want you to comment on what he had to say. The city of Memphis is not on the list. It's important to clarify that Memphis and Shelby County are separate government entities. The city of Memphis is not a sanctuary city, nor does it have policies that obstruct federal immigration enforcement. Tennessee state law explicitly prohibits sanctuary jurisdictions, and Memphis complies fully with that law. Our focus remains on ensuring public safety for all residents, and we continue to operate within the bounds of state and federal law. I find it interesting that the Memphis mayor, with whom you and I probably don't agree very much on politics, I find it interesting that the Memphis mayor came out and made that statement. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it just shows that he's trying to distance himself, right? And he doesn't want to be caught up in it. And I think it goes to the effect of the bill that we passed. Look, the problem that we've had for a lot of years, we would have things on the books, and there was no consequence for the cities at all. There was nothing. And they could break the state law. The worst thing you could do is tell them to stop. Oh, please stop, and so forth. But when you start saying we're going to remove your revenue from you, just like the federal government tries to do to a bunch of states under the Biden administration, all of a sudden it gets real serious real quick. And so, look, Memphis isn't trying to harbor illegals. They're not trying to impede anything. Mayor O'Connell, I think it's a Metro Council issue that he has to get his hands on. There's some probably people within the departments he needs to get his hands on. But we're not going to have it in the state of Tennessee. And I can tell you that you don't want to go against the Trump administration on illegal immigrants and then trying to protect our cities and our states and getting rid of people here who are criminals and who are here illegally. Every person that came into our country legally, it's a disservice for individuals to protect those who came in illegally. And if you want to do it right. But the Trump administration is absolutely right. And we have state law now that backs us up. where we can start holding cities and counties accountable for their actions.
You know, we got our hands on, I want to speak to the O'Connell piece on this in just a second, but I want to revert back to kind of your sphere of influence as Speaker of the House, specifically regarding a member of the House of Representatives, Afton Ben. We saw the Instagram post very soon after it came out, played it on the Matt Murphy show. It's now made national. It's got national news, where she actively seems to be gleefully attempting to thwart the efforts of Immigration and Customs Enforcement and the Tennessee Highway Patrol as they're going on. Reportedly, she was actively attempting to stymie them and reported on that herself. Have you been made aware of this video, and what, if anything, is your role as Speaker of the House in investigating whether or not Afton Ben, as a member of the House of Representatives, violated the law?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think what you see from the left, and she's certainly on the left, and whether you've seen this in Memphis as well with law enforcement, with elected officials on the left, you've seen it in Nashville with elected officials on the left. Just because you're an elected official doesn't mean you can impede an investigation. It doesn't mean you can insert yourself into an investigation and try to stop it. And so what she did was trying to impede it and trying to do other things. And law enforcement, I think, and based on the video, actually had a conversation with her. Look, if you're doing that sort of stuff and you're a citizen or elected official and you're impeding a federal investigation or a state investigation, it should be a crime and you should be held accountable for that. You can't do it. And, you know, until law enforcement starts holding those people accountable, they're going to keep doing it. And it happened in Memphis with a local elected official. They didn't end up indicting her or prosecuting her, which I think they should have. And so when you have those examples of law enforcement not really pushing forward with something that, in my opinion, should be a violation of state law or federal law or both, then it just tells other people that they can do it. And all of a sudden, you see them laughing in the car and smiling and acting like it's a game. It's not a game.
Right.
You have illegal people who are here committing crimes, creating more victims, killing people, raping people. It is not a laughing matter to get those people out of our country.
Amen.
And definitely out of our state.
So,
and when you're doing that, you're mocking the legal system and the judicial system that supposedly that they're okay with until it's something that they don't like.
So I know, because I know you well enough, Cameron, to know that you would never insert yourself between the legal process and law enforcement as they are investigating something. But let me ask you this, and the answer might be no. The answer could just be no, there's really no role for us in this. But if it is determined that Afton Ben did break the law in some fashion, I mean, is there anything that kicks in terms of her role as a representative at that point? Like I say, the answer might be no, but would you then look into that if it's determined by law enforcement that she violated the law?
Yeah, we definitely look into it. You also look into it with our ethics attorney who reviews all these things all the time of certain actions to see if there's a violation there, to see if what can or cannot happen. And, but once again, what I will say is you don't insert yourself. Now, if law enforcement comes to you, Matt, and says, hey, I would like your help in this situation, then by all means, right? That's how you do it. But you don't go around trying to dox law enforcement. You don't go around trying to impede their investigation. You don't try to make it all fun and games. This is a serious matter. And I think it just goes to what Biden and the left did through all those years, allowing all those people to come across the border, all these criminals, all these gang members, all these individuals who should not be here. And they see it as some kind of, sporting event almost, and it's serious. And they need to realize that you can't do that and allow the agents to do their job.
You and I want to circle back to, I hate that phrase, so strike that. I want to go back to Nashville. So earlier this year, you announced and the state announced that we would be spending state money to do a forensic audit of Memphis and Shelby County school systems. And I think correctly so. Considering the questions regarding what taxpayer dollars were spent in Nashville to route money to certain funds that benefit illegal alien activity, Mr. Speaker, could the General Assembly decide to audit the city of Nashville? And if that is in your ability, I'm asking you, would you be willing to do that?
We would. We've already had conversations with the comptroller to ask him to take a look into it and see how they're funding this fund. And look, Nashville is saying, well, we're not a sanctuary city and we're not harboring anybody. But when you come out and you say, we're going to create a fund to help illegals who are here, who are getting picked up in this program, that's exactly what you're doing. The problem is when that money comes into the government, does it mix? Is it independent? What does it look like? There's a lot of questions there. We've already asked the comptroller to start taking a look, and we're waiting for that individual, Comptroller Mumpower, to report back to us if we need to go the next step and maybe do a forensic audit to see what's going on. But it's already on our radar. We've already raised the question, and we're waiting on the comptroller to respond back to us.
I think the vast majority of the people in this community in Middle Tennessee would absolutely love to see the state engage in a forensic audit, and I think we would consider it well worth the money cost to figure out where in the world our especially considering that outside of this subject, you have the mayor that wants to increase property taxes by 27%, costing the citizens of Davidson County even more money, while we don't really know where our taxpayer dollars are going in Davidson County. I think the people of this community and the state would welcome that, Cameron.
Yeah, well, they would, but also look at our state is booming with tourism dollars. Nashville is booming with people who want to come to Nashville to Lower Broad and other things. And what the city is doing, some of those individuals in the city, is ruining the brand that Nashville is. And so that has an economic impact long term. You're doxing agents, you're harboring illegals, you're setting up funds to help illegals to stay here. All that does not help your tourism, especially if crime starts going up.
Well, we appreciate your leadership on this matter, appreciate your clarity on, what is within your scope of influence and what is not, and we look forward to the next conversation. Obviously, there's a lot of digging that needs to be done to get some answers to the questions that you've posed today, and I'm certain that you'll do that digging, and when you do, come back on and we'll talk about it, Cameron.
We'll do it. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you. There's Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, joining us. Let me tell you, forensic audit of the city of Nashville. That's what needs to happen. The Metro Nashville, the Metro count, whether they do something or not about this, the state needs to take over and do something about it. And I think Cameron Sexton would be willing to do that. I think that we have allies in the Senate that would be willing to take it up as well. And I think it's something that needs to happen sooner rather than later.